please join in the singing of our national anthem. Representing the three-time Stanley Cup champion New Jersey Devils, Arlette.
I feel like I'm at a game. Oh my gosh. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Happy Devil's Sunday.
That's very subdued.
Yeah, I don't want to
real
make
close up.
I don't want to make any noise. I don't want to wake up the neighbors because it's such a happy Devil's Sunday. The Let's Go Devils podcast, season 1, episode 24. Guys, Devils are on a winning streak. The Isabel Cup is to the Riveters right now. I'm very happy about that. There's a lot of winning going on. The Let's Go Devils podcast has PL3, Pierre, Luc, LeBlanc. I think he dropped the Laterno, but we'll ask him about that a little bit later. Guys, are you guys happy right now with the New Jersey Devils with that 8th spot being like 1988 all over again?
I mean, biting my fingernails until they get into the bone. Yeah, sure. Having a heart attack every game.
I'm happy with any playoff spot at this point, whether it's 8th or what. And as long as we're in, we're in.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you what, if I were Pittsburgh or Tampa Bay, I'd be a little bit scared to face New Jersey in that first round because the Devils have a way of getting up for these big games against these big teams. So I'd be shaking in my boots.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what I want for a playoff run. I want the team to play up to any and all opponents that we're going to face. Hopefully all the way to June.
Agreed. You got, like we said before, you want to go into the playoffs playing a strong schedule, playing good teams, because all that's doing is getting you prepped and primed for playoff hockey. And let me tell you, the atmosphere at the stadium has been insane. Last night's game, it was out of control. That was a playoff atmosphere. Everybody's going crazy. Kincaid's dancing on his head. This team is come to play, and you can see it. You can see it in each player. Palmieri scores that goal. I thought he was going to celebrate all the way through the boards. He was so excited. But dude, this is good. They just got going.
I think we have our answer about what to do with the goalie situation. Just ride Kincaid.
I think you have to. And if you're Schneider, now you're a goaltender, right? So put yourself in Schneider's shoes. What do you feel? Like, how do you feel about it?
If you're a team player, you want to you'll happily. Well, I shouldn't say you'll happily. But if you want what's best for your team, and right now things are working with the way it's, with Keith and net, you're just going to take that role as a backup, and possibly be a little bummed out that you're not the guy. But at the same time, if you're winning and you're getting into the playoffs with the with the way the Devils have missed out on the playoffs for the last couple of years, you want to be there. So you kind of, it's kind of like an ego check. You swallow your pride, and you become Kincaid's biggest fan, because if he succeeds, the team succeeds. If the team succeeds, obviously Snyder succeeds too. So it's a bummer not being the guy, but at the same time, it's you've got to be that team player.
Yeah, you got to think that he's getting himself in a situation where if he went into that San Jose game and played lights out, it would have been a harder decision to make. But Kincaid comes back, and I mean plays two of the best teams in the East. No, he did play two of the best teams in the East. With Pittsburgh, and look at the firepower that he went up against. I think they said he made 75 saves in a 24-hour span. So you look at the teams that he's playing with Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay, and they're not rolling out, just regular Joes. You're rolling out guys that are trying to win the Rocket Richard Trophy, and he, especially in that Tampa Bay game, he slammed the door shut.
Yeah. I'm doing the math now. Yeah, 70 saves in those two games. That's pretty incredible. And I was kind of joking around with friends that for Tampa Bay, call up Eddie Lack just for one game just to play Tampa Bay, but we obviously didn't need it. We let up much less in the shot department than we did the first time around. And yeah, it's, man, you just got to go with the hot hand right now. And Kincaid's it.
Yeah, I agree. And it's going back to that Pittsburgh game, the confidence of Taylor Hall and Nico Hischier right now is incredible, and how much chemistry that those two have developed throughout the entire. But if you watch that play develop in overtime, which first of all, I was standing up in front of my television, watching the game. Taylor Hall has Phil Kessel draped all over him. He's probably giving up about 275 pounds to Phil, and he manages to weasel his way away from him. And Taylor Hall has so much confidence in what Nico's doing in his own end that he kind of just drifted away from the play and kept on drifting, and just Pittsburgh completely lost sight of him. Nico gets the puck perfect passed over to Taylor, and then when Taylor scored, you just he didn't have a big time celebration, he just scored. I was just like, all right, there you go. They just knew that that's what he had to do, and that was it. But I mean, that was such a beautiful play, but that shows how much he has trust in this rookie.
Yeah, well, I think the whole team does.
Agreed.
And the size difference between Phil Kessel and Hischier on that battle, I mean, that just shows the strength that Hischier has. And I do know that part of that lack of a celebration with Hall was he wasn't quite sure if the puck was gonna, he knew he got a 5-hole, but whether or not it was gonna go in or come out the other side. But that everything from the play in the corner to the pass, Taylor Hall being right there. You really can't ask for a better performance against the Penguins. At all. Same thing with against the Lightning too.
Oh yeah, and you have two great games against Tampa Bay and against Pittsburgh. You have those two games against Anaheim and against San Jose, and more so, like Anaheim, it just felt like one of those games that they couldn't get out of their own way, and it was just like it was going to be one of those nights, and you just kind of had a feeling, Taylor Hall makes a beautiful play, ties the game up at 1, and then it kind of fell apart after that. But San Jose was just god awful, and I mean, I know. even Coach Hines after the game said, like, from the goaltender out, it was abysmal. It was just a terrible game. To see them bounce back, especially coming back to Pittsburgh, knowing that you have a back-to-back, and like I said, you're playing a back-to-back with a travel day. Well, not even a travel day, like you're traveling
travel series of hours.
Yeah. And then you're playing the two top teams in the East, or two of the top teams in the East. And to pull those 2 wins out. So you're getting away from that road trip with a 4-2 record, and you're playing Tampa Bay, and you sweep the season series from them. Like I said, if I'm Tampa Bay, I'm a little nervous to see New Jersey in that 8th spot.
But even if you look at the entire road trip, you gave a drubbing to, let's not forget Vegas, who's one of the top teams in the league too. They took care of 3 of the top teams in the league over a 2-week period of time where they were away from home. Let's say they probably traveled the 9th, I would assume. So you're going from the 9th to you're not getting home till the late, early hours of the Saturday the 24th. That's a long trip. That's a lot on the body too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and you're coming from the West Coast, and traditionally teams that are coming back to the East from the West Coast usually have like a letdown game. This team, but this is what's confusing, is like they have for the last 2 months, it's like you win 3, you lose 2, you win 3, you lose 4, and there's like that consistency level. You just hope that with 7 games remaining, they need to at least go a minimum of 5-2. You look at what all the other teams around them are doing, and especially the one team that's really chasing them is the Florida Panthers, and I think they're 11-3 in their last 14 games or something like that. Their record is pretty amazing. So you got a team that's really hot that's chasing you. You're chasing teams that are almost uncatchable because they're all on fire. Columbus with last night they snapped their 11-game winning streak or something like that. But this is
good.
Good. They have no choice but to continue to win. Like, I know that's easy to say, but it's crazy.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely easier said than done. But by the way, I have updated stats this week because I have my laptop, not my phone.
Nice.
But looking at looking at the standings, like it's we're on 86 and Florida's on 83. The problem is, we've played 2 more games in Florida.
Yeah, they got 2.
That's always the kicker when you get into all of the crunch time of the season. So it's almost like a false set of standings, because it's not really a true marker. Yeah, we're ahead in points, but Florida has the opportunity to, if they take advantage of it, get 4 additional points, which overtakes us in the standings. So that to me is scary.
Yeah, but I mean, the one thing that the Devils have on their side right now is you look at the schedule that Florida has to play for the remainder of their run, and they have some clunkers in there. They have to play Ottawa, and they have the games like that. But then they also have to play the Bruins 3 times. So you can't think that Boston's just going to sit back and kind of let Florida walk into the building and take control of the game. So you hope that those 3 games, that at least Boston can win 2 out of those 3. Their schedule is a little rough, but I mean, at the same time, what it really comes down to is the Devils need to just take care of business. You know what I mean? Like, they have to.
I've got Florida's schedule up now. Islanders on Monday, Toronto back-to-back with Ottawa Wednesday, Thursday. And they're away in all these games, so they've got a significant road trip at the end of the season. My only worry with the Boston game is that Boston came to them, and they lost 3-0 to the Panthers, so that's kind of scary. But then come April, Carolina and Nashville back-to-back, Boston break, Buffalo back-to-back with Boston, up in Boston. So they've got a rough schedule. Towards their final week of the season is looking like their worst part. But maybe our Brooklyn and soon to be Belmont neighbors, the Islanders, are gonna do us a favor and beat them. I'll take that favor from the Islanders.
Yeah, seriously. And you got to think that the Islanders, like teams like that, are not going to quit. You have Buffalo in there, and you have the Islanders in there. They're out of contention.
Yeah.
The Islanders they're a tricky team because I think the other night they were down. I forget who they were playing. They were down like 7-2 or something like that, and they come back and they got it close to 7-6, but then they ended up losing. So they could score, they could put up points. It's just the fact that they need to stop the puck. So who knows? There's a lot of teams that we need to help keep the Panthers at bay. But at the same time, like I said, if the Devils win, 5 out of the last 7 games, that puts them in a good position. So
yeah.
Let's see
destiny's in our own hands. I don't want to have to rely on scoreboard watching to get into the playoffs in the very end of the season. I hate that too because you have no control of it, and then you start thinking about the games that we gave up a point here, a point there.
Yep.
That's where all that comes back to really haunt you. So one can only hope that we get in on our own, and we don't have to. We don't have to rely on other people. That's the last thing that I want.
Yeah, and
so
it's just this is the time of the year. This is they're starting to turn it up. You can see that the play of the team is really intensified. Like I said, man, Kincaid has just been he's been playing like a number one. Those last 2 games. And it's like it's not even like he's seeing easy shots. And it's not like he's going up against, against the Islanders or against Ottawa or against teams like that. He's going against, the last 2, Sidney Crosby and Stamkos and Evgeny Malkin and Kucherov. And, you can go down a laundry list of people that can put the puck in the net. So just ride the hot hand, see how it goes, and hopefully they sneak their way into the playoffs. And if they do, I'm telling you, they're going to be a dangerous team to play in a series.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think we need to introduce our guest this week.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we have on tonight Pierre-Luc Letourneau-Leblond, the PL3. Pierre, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Pierre, how you doing? This is Shorts Guy. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. How you been?
Doing good. We also have Beer Baron here as well.
Hey, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Of course, my pleasure, guys.
So, how have you been doing? What have you been up to recently?
Well, I'm a real life person now. I'm a worker, which is weird. After spending 12, 13 years of professional hockey, I gotta get up in the morning and work instead of making my way to the rink and spending time with the boys. So it's different. I started doing real estate. I live in Albany now, so I'm a real estate agent with Coldwell Banker. And yeah.
That was Sam, by the way.
Yeah, that was our producer Sam with the sound effects, man.
So you said you gotta wake up every day, just go to work, kind of like a regular Joe like us. So when you got away from hockey, was that like a weird transition for you to kind of be like, wow, I don't have to go to the rink today, like, I don't have to worry about warm-ups or going out there and getting ready for a season?
Oh yeah, I took the decision in the middle of the summer, so it was weird, when I stopped working out. I've been going to the gym every morning for 15, 16 years, and skating in the afternoon and all that stuff. So yeah, that was tough, and you know, sometimes I wake up and I still feel like going to the gym, but nah, I got something else to do. You know, that's all it is. You know?
I mean, I've been saying that for years. That's why I've kind of I've gained a few pounds.
Yeah.
So being away from the game. Sure, it's okay.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna ask. You've got to miss the game, I'm sure. Are you still playing at all, or have you hung up the skates completely?
No, I can't stop playing. I joined the men's league here. It's been a lot of fun. We had a really good bunch of guys, and I did a couple tournaments. Just about 2 weeks ago, we had a 3-on-3 tournament. That was a good time. And I also coach. Like, there's a little place here in Clifton Park, right north of Albany. It's called the Hockey Hut. When I was still playing, I would go there just to train. It's a small rink. Man, I want to say it's like 30 by 60. So your coach is in your face, and the guy who's running it, the owner, his name is Ron Kuehl. He's been working with me for, I want to say, 7 or 8 years. And as soon as I retired, he was or I made the decision, he was the first one that I kind of announced it to, because I was driving by. And I stopped in the hockey hut just to tell him, hey, Ron, like, I'm done. And right away it was like, Pierre, you know, if you want to stay in the game and if you want to coach teach kids and transition that way, you're more than welcome. And I think 2 or 3 weeks later, I was there on a Wednesday night coaching. You know, and he put me on his team to coach. We had a Pee Wee team going to the Quebec tournament. It's a big international Pee Wee tournament. So I mean, I've been staying active with the coaching and the playing the men's league and all that. So I do lace them up with, like, I want to say 2-3 times, 4 times a week maybe. So it's still good.
Oh, that's great. That's pretty cool.
Somehow.
So I got to ask you, when you were younger and you got the call that you were going to be going up to the NHL level, and you got the your first game, which I believe was in October 22nd in 2000. Oh man, 2006, or was that 2008? 2008, right?
Yeah.
So when you got that call to go up to the NHL, like, what was that feeling like when you knew that this was it? Like, you're going up to the big show.
Well, my first call up, it was pretty cool. Actually, my brother came to visit me. I was in Lowell at the time, and my brother came and spent the weekend with me. And on the Sunday, I want to say, he left, and like 20 minutes later, I got a call from Lou saying, you know, get ready, you're coming, you're gonna play tomorrow or 2 nights from now. So I called my brother right away. I was like, dude, you got to turn around. You got to come back. We're going to Cerny. That was really cool. Especially that, you know, his cell phone was always off when he was in the U.S., but he just turned it on to tell his wife that he was on his way home, kind of thing. So for the roaming, whatever. Like, long story short, it was pretty cool. And then you know, the usual. You call all the family and the friends, and everybody tries to make arrangements to come down for the game. And I think I probably had like 15, 20 people, like friends and family, who all came down. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So with all those friends and family,
we won that game too. So that was
even better.
And that's right. And you had an assist on Dave Clarkson's goal in that game.
That's right. Yeah, Clarkson was still scoring goals back then. He I just gave him the puck and he took care of the rest. I didn't do much.
How was that walking into the locker room for the first time with into the New Jersey Devils locker room, like, you know, Clarkson, Brodeur, and all them there? What was that feeling like?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how to compare that to anything else, but like, it's probably like you going on your first live show, or, you know, somebody working their first time in a new job. It just feels so surreal. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm here. I got a job to do, and even though you've been doing it your whole life and you're ready for it, you're prepared. Like, everything feels like it's all new, you know. And then, like you said, you got guys like Brodeur, Parise, Langenbrunner. Like you got guys that are, you know, future or current Hall of Famer in the locker room with you. It's just unbelievable.
Now,
So
while you were
you call the family, they all come down. Are you the one picking up the bill for all those tickets for them?
Wow, how did that happen? I feel like I don't think I paid for that game, guys. We I don't know if it's still that way in the NHL, but we used to have two comps, like two tickets that you know, everybody could get two tickets. So I went around the locker room and asked the guys if I could use theirs. I gotta be honest, I don't remember paying for extras. I don't know if the Devils took care of me or whatnot, but I don't remember. I might have had to, but it's too far. That was a detail at that point. That very day, I couldn't care less. Like I just wanted my friends to be part of it.
You were there. Yeah, that's probably what you care about. You were there and you wanted all those that supported you to be there too.
Yeah, exactly. It was not only about me that day. You know, it was more about me. My family had to be there. You know, it was just something that it was not about the money. It was about, you know, hey, we did it kind of thing. And it was pretty cool. Like the support that you have growing up. Even back then, I didn't realize how much my parents did for me as a young hockey player, all the sacrifice. Like, I didn't have kids back then. I was a kid. I was 24, I think. So now that I have kids and that like I just said, I coach hockey, I coach peewees, like 10, 12-year-old kids. Like, to see what the parents do, like the traveling and sitting there during practice and pushing their kids and just supporting them. I'm like, oh my God, my parents did so much. Like, if I could relive it, I probably would be even more thankful.
That's pretty awesome. Now, when you were younger, when you were a kid and they were bringing you to the practices and things like that, at what point did you realize, like, man, I have a shot to make it into the NHL at you know, any point in your young developing career?
I never did. I never thought I had a shot at it. The first time was my first preseason game when I played against the Rangers, I think it was, my very first one, and I fought Donald Brashear, and I survived it. I was like, oh my God, I might have a shot at this. But no, man, even my first 3-4 years pro, I didn't think about it. I didn't even dream of it. I don't know. I was just happy. I was going with the flow. I was playing in the American League. To me, it was just already a big achievement. And, you know, I was just living the dream at that point, and then it just got better.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny because, like, you know, you look at the NHL now, and the role of the enforcer is kind of not there anymore. And this is a question that as soon as we found out that you were going to be on the show, I was like, I have to ask. What do you watch the game now and you see guys like Brad Marchand, you know, going around and throwing elbows and doing things like that and taking guys out, and you kind of wonder if you were on the ice or if you were on the bench, you know, do you think guys would be taking runs at players like that anymore? And do you think that the enforcer has a purpose in the game still?
I mean, it's a question that we could talk about for a couple hours. So if you guys are ready, let's go. The way they try to police the game, and with all the rules and suspensions, and no, I don't think the enforcers ever have a role anymore. If you go back 10 years, 20 years, and those things happen, they would not happen again. They would happen on accident. They would happen because in the heat of the battle. It would not be a cheap, dirty shot like you just said, Brad Marchand, at the end of a game when there's nothing on the line and he just goes and flying elbow and takes somebody out for absolutely no reason. If it happened by accident, or in the heat of a battle, of a tight game, well, it would be taken care of and it would not happen again, at least not by that guy. But the way the NHL is now, and no, there's no more accountability. That's sad, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the harder things to watch is, like you said, back, a couple, even, 6-7 years ago, you had a guy do something like that and he had to answer to the enforcer on a team. And now it's the game is so different. And I understand that they want it to be faster and they want things to be, higher scoring and stuff like that. But at the same time, for me as a fan, and just as somebody who loves hockey, I feel like the enforcer is an extremely important part of the game and should never should be taken away, because like you said, you see guys running around doing these dirty hits, and it's like there's nobody to hold them accountable. And I think it's going to end up, somebody's going to get really hurt really bad, and maybe they'll bring the enforcer back that way. But until then, it's sad to see.
Yeah, I mean, do you really think a guy making $5 million a year cares about a $5,000 fine? Like, come on, let's be real here.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't care, man. Like, not that they have that in the back of their mind before going on playing the game. Like, oh, I don't care if I take a suspension, it's going to cost me $5,000. I don't care. They don't think that way, and I know that, but. Like, it's not gonna make a difference. It's not gonna stop those things from happening. I don't know. From being in the game, like I just don't think. But at the same time, like, even if you have enforcers, does it really change the mentality of the game? I think it's just the mentality's changed so much in the last 10 years that whether you have enforcers or not in today's game, I don't think it matters. Guys come and go. Everybody gets a call up. Like, there's 10, 15 new guys every year that gets a shot. Back when I started, it was 1 or 2 guys would get a call up. And if it was a good year for the minors, like, you would get 3, maybe 4 guys who would get a call up. You had to play 4 or 5 years in the minors before you got a game. Like, it's just so different now. Like, I don't know if it's the entitlement of, like, everybody's getting a chance, or it's the salary cap that's changing things around because they want to bring younger guys, giving them a shot. The speed of the game, I don't know what it is, but the whole hockey, like, the whole mentality and the whole game, like, the game within the game has changed. And I love watching hockey. I love what the product is. I think it's a great product, and I think it's awesome to watch, especially when playoff comes around. But it is different, and as an old school fan, I mean, it's not the same game. They did good with what they have right now. I think it's awesome to watch. But if you want to talk about the cheap shots and the accountability, I don't think there's any of that anymore.
So, Pierre, I have to ask you about this. That fight you had with Cam Jansen. I was there for that game. A bunch of buddies and I were, we were big Cam Jansen fans before he got traded. So you guys line up, you're talking to each other, and then you guys get into one of the longest and best fights that I've seen. What did you guys say before that fight? Like, what? I don't know. You want to shed a little light onto that, please?
Yeah. Well, the whole story when I got that before that game, I mean, I didn't think much of it. I never played against a former teammate, Cam was kind of a mentor without mentoring me. Like, I was modeling my game after him, because I knew Lou loved the way he played, and I knew that's kind of I had to fill his shoes when he left, right? So I was modeling my game after him, and my fighting too. Like, I loved what he was doing, being a smaller guy, but just the way he was handling himself. So I didn't think much of it when we played St. Louis that night, and until like right before warm up, Marty Brodeur came to me and was like, Pierre, I didn't look nervous or anything. I don't know what it was, but Marty came to me and he was like, Pierre, like, Cam's probably gonna want to fight tonight. And I was in my head, I was like, yeah, man, I expect that. That's what he does, right? And that's what I do. So, it's probably going to happen. And then Murray was like, no, but you understand that he's really going to want to fight. And then that hit me. I was like, holy shit. Like, he was a fan favorite. Like, he was the guy for a couple of years. Like, he was going to be on a mission. Like, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to hurt tonight. Like, usually I would think about that a couple of days before if I played, Jordy Shelley or Riley Cote or, those guys, I would see it coming, but I didn't think that Cam would come and just want it until that time. And then sure enough, in warm-up, it was like, yeah, we're going to go tonight. I was like, oh, okay. So it kind of hit me. And when we lined up, he was kind of like, hey, let's go. And I was like, all right, let's go. Let's get it out of the way kind of thing. And, sure enough, there was no quitting in that guy that night. It was a long back and forth, and back and forth is the word. I think he probably threw as many punches on each side. It was a long one, and I was sore, like not in my face or in my fist, but like my little muscles, like in my ankles and my core and my back, like everything was in pain for like 2-3 days after. It felt like I had like a muscle cold or something. It was awful.
Oh man,
that was an awesome fight and a long fight too. You got to have a ton of stamina for that. We actually, I don't know if he's going to show up, but we actually did invite Cam to call into tonight's podcast and to chime in if he wanted. We're still waiting on that, but. Yeah, that was one of my favorite fights that just stands out. You two squaring off. Cam gets traded. You're now Cam's replacement, and we're like, all right, well, we love Cam, but you were there, and you were just you filled that role, and we loved you for it. My friends and I loved you for filling in that role because that was just such an exciting part of the game that like we were talking about earlier, just really isn't there very much anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you always cheer for the logo, right? For the guy wearing the red jersey. But that's one thing about hockey. When guys have been here and they did a good job for your team, and then they move on, like every time a guy gets traded and then he comes back. I mean, you show the respect, and that's one thing about the hockey fans that I don't know. I don't feel like you see it in every other sport. It's just something that's amazing. And just going back to Jersey, when a couple of weeks ago, the Mikey Strong thing that I went back and played for, and just talking to some of the fans, it's just awesome. The hockey fans are up there. They're way better than any other sport, that's for sure.
Well, I'll tell you, when we love you to death, and if we hate you, we hate your guts. It's kind of how hockey fans go. But we always have you have a special place in our hearts, and it's funny because one of our fans on Facebook asked a question: have you ever fought a guy that you considered a friend?
Oh yeah. My very best friend in hockey, Pierre Cedric Labrie. That was a weird one. He was in Norfolk and in the AHL, and there was a scrum in the middle, and we played back-to-back nights, right? We played like Friday, Saturday, because traveling down there was always the way it was. We played 2 nights, and so there was a scrum in the middle, and I turned around, and he turned around at the same time. Gloves were off, and we grabbed each other, and we're like, "Oh man, what are we doing?" So we fought. It wasn't a big fight, but still, like PC is a beast. Like he's just one of the strongest men I've ever worked out. It was my training partner in the summer, and he's just the strongest guy. So anyway, we both survived, and we met at the restaurant right after because we were grabbing dinner together after the game, and we were just staying at the bar at the restaurant down on Granby Street, and not a word. Like we didn't speak for like 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes later, John Cooper walked in the place, and he was like, "Guys, what you did tonight was ridiculous. I've never seen anything like that. I can't believe you fought each other." Like John Cooper is the coach in Tampa right now, but he was the coach in Norfolk back then. And he was just like, I have so much respect for what you guys did, and like, good job, kind of thing. And then it kind of loosened us up, like, okay, it's just a job. Like, it's just a job. We did what we have to do, but we can still have dinner. But yeah, that was a weird and crazy one. But yeah, fighting one of my best friends, it was tough.
That's great. You know,
So, so Pierre, you came out of retirement for one game with Adirondack.
Yeah.
What happened with that?
That was awesome. So it was Saturday morning. I was in the middle of showing a house to a client, and my phone rang. So it was Brad, the coach in Adirondack, and I met him over the summer because when he took the job, I was up there actually. So I went and said, introduce myself. If you ever need anything, here's my business card, my phone number. So call me. And sure enough, his name pops up on my phone. I was with my client. I was like, dude, I gotta take that. Hold on one second. So sure enough, he's like, Pierre, do you want to? He's like, I need someone to fill a jersey tonight because we got 3 call-ups and 2 guys are injured. 1 guy's suspended. He's like, I need somebody to just put a jersey on. Can you come up? So I was like, let me think about it. So I hung up. I called my wife, and she was like, just do it, whatever. So I called him back, and I was like, listen, if I'm coming up, it's only an hour from my house, right? It's not that far. So I told him, if I'm coming up, I'm playing. He was like, sure, you'll play as much as you want. So anyway, I drove up there, and I think I got 3 or 4 shifts in the first, like my usual, 3, 4, and then 3 or 4 in the second. And it was like we were down 3-2, I think, going in the third. And he came to me and he was like, hey, Pierre, good job. It was just one way to say, like, you're done for tonight. I thought it was awesome. But it was cool, and they have a good team up there. The young guys are just working their balls off. It was fun. So I mean, I got to watch the game from the best seat in the house. Usually I watch it from the penalty box, but I didn't fight that night, so I watched it from the players bench. So it was really cool, and they put on a good show. We came back and won in shootout, so it was awesome.
That's so cool. And now, when you got up into the game, were you thinking, oh man, I wonder if anybody's going to try and challenge me because I came out into the ice? Like, were you expecting anybody to try to go toe to toe with you?
No, they had a tough guy on the other team. Kid I played with a couple of games in the past. He came to me in the warm. I was like, "What are you doing here?" I don't know, man. I'm just here living the dream, And he got LT scratched that night, so there was really nobody on the other side that would fight me unless I did something stupid or somebody did something stupid. But that's one thing in the East Coast, man. There is more accountability, I think. Like, guys respect the role a little more than they do at the next level. So no, nothing happened. Nothing crazy happened that night.
That's cool. I want to ask you this too. Now, going into these games, you're an enforcer. You're going to have to go out there and probably fight the toughest guy in the other team. Now, how the hell do you get yourself pumped up before a game? Like, how do you sit back and just say, all right, here we go? Like, you listen to something? Like, what was your pregame ritual before you went out?
For me, it was never, I always focused on the hockey part of it. I never focused on like, oh, I got to fight tonight. Like, only a few times have I done that. And I didn't enjoy the fight before the fight. That's what I always call it. I still call it that today. Whenever, like, anything in life, when you're stressed about something that's gonna happen, like, it's the fight before the fight. It's often, like, if not always, it's worse than the fight itself. So if I was sitting at home the day when I was a junior, I would do it. I would be home the day before. I would sleep, like, I wouldn't sleep at all, and then I would go and fight. And I was like, oh, it wasn't that bad. So I that's how I kind of moved away from thinking about it too much. But my thing was, I always scouted the other guy, like his last couple fights, what he did, and try to find a style. So either after my pregame nap, or on the way to a game, if it was on the road, I would just get on my phone, look him up, watch 2 or 3, 4 of his fights, and then I would know what to do right away. Like I would have my game plan, and then I would stop thinking about it until it actually happened. You know, I didn't want to be thinking about it all day, all game, because then I couldn't focus on what I was doing out there. You know, there's a lot of guys who, you know, that they kept them up at night, you know, or they would think about it, or they would want to fight right away to get it out of the way. I wasn't like that. I was more of a, you know, if it happens, it happens. If not, you know, whatever. But if it happens, I'm ready because I got my game plan. I could fight lefty, I could fight righty, you know, I could throw those uppercuts, I could keep a guy out, string him out, and wait for him and counterpunch. I just had to find what I was going to do that would work that night, and I would stick to it.
That is so cool.
Pierre, this is Sam here. I had one question. You played 2 French-Canadian goaltenders I've always idolized was obviously Martin Brodeur, but Marc-Andre Fleury. And I believe you play with Marc-Andre in Pittsburgh. Am I correct?
Correct, yeah.
Yep. Those 2 goaltenders, do they have a similar demeanor and style? Because Marty always seemed like he had everything under control, relaxed, you know, was a leader in the locker room. Did you find that Marc-Andre Fleury was the same way, serious about the game, but just had things under control and was just relaxed, just like Marty?
Yeah, I mean, Marty is Marty. There's nobody like him. Like he would show up to a game, and you know, him showing up to the game, you knew you were gonna win, or you had a really good shot at winning. It was unbelievable. Like when you walked to the rink and you saw that Marty was there being Marty, like you knew you were in good hands, right? Like you just had. It's like you started with a +1. You were gonna win. You know, so the confidence that came from that was just unbelievable. Fleury was the same confident, like laid back guy. I would say, like I only played, you know, a game with him, but I, you know, spent time with him in training camp and stuff. But they were both the most welcoming, the nicest guys. I mean, they're French Canadians, and aren't French Canadians all nice? No.
According to our records,
Fleury
yes.
is, I gotta tell you, he looked so excited with games. It always looked like it was like for like, I don't know, when you play hockey in the street or pound hockey when you're a kid and like it's fun, it's gonna be fun tonight. That's what Fleury. That's the vibe that he was bringing in the locker room. Where, yeah, it was a little different, but same laid back, hey, let's have fun and win tonight kind of attitude.
That is awesome. So
I
got to tell you, you know, we're having a live show on April 7th, and I know you're a very busy man. You have a family. You're working, a working man just like us now, a lunch paler. If you are interested, we're doing a live show in Rockaway, New Jersey at Tavern on the Rocks. It's a nice little bar. We'd like to have you down if you're available to come down.
On the 7th, eh? Is there a game that night?
Yeah, the Devils are playing away that night.
They're away.
Yeah, the Devils are away. We're doing a watch party. So you don't have to answer us now, but if if you're available, we'd love to have you down and watch the game with us against Washington. It'd be a lot of fun.
Against Wash too. Yeah, I would love it. Let me know. I mean, let me know during that week. I'll see if I can come down. I always love going down to Jersey. I'm always looking for reasons because I want to go see my friends, but I got work, I got this, I got that. So if I can do a couple of things as I go down, I love it.
That you know what, so cool. Yeah, we'd love to have you, and this has been a lot of fun. You are more than welcome to join us on this podcast whenever you are available to join us.
That's awesome. I thanks for having me, guys. It's good memories. I always love talking about what happened and what's happening. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Awesome. And
thank you.
Yeah, anytime you want to come on, you're more than welcome. This has been great.
That's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank
All
you,
right, man.
Pierre.
Have a good night.
Appreciate it. Good night.
Okay, see you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.
There we
All
go.
right, dude,
That
PL3.
was Pierre.
That was one of the coolest things ever. Like that was one of the coolest coolest things ever.
That was so yeah, that was definitely cool. And I've always wondered what I got a long-standing question answered, like the day of the fight between him and Cam. Like this is so cool.
I
I've
love
always
that.
wanted to know what they were saying.
I love that Marty
'Cause you see
Marty was
him-
the one that
You you watch the
ahead.
video and they go back and forth a little bit at the face-off, and then they just drop him.
Yeah.
It's like this is awesome.
and I love that Marty went up to him, during the warm-ups and was like, he's gonna fight you. Like this is gonna happen. And that was so cool to hear.
Yeah, when a player like Marty says you got to do something, you have to do it.
Dude, seriously, that was super cool. And I have like 1,000 more questions that I can ask him. So hopefully he's able to come out to our live event on April 7th at the Tavern on the Rocks.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, everyone who's listening should come out to the event April 7th. We're going to do the watch party. We're going to watch Devils take on the Capitals. With all hope, the Devils will be solidly in the playoffs. And if that game's going to mean a lot. Yeah, right? Yeah, but more than likely we'll be stressed out. We will probably be stressed out.
I hope not. I hope it's just one of those games that we could be like, hey, if we win, we win. We lose, we lose. Who cares? And just have a lot of fun. And it's not like one of those things where our podcast is us just sitting there like eyes wide open, like, okay, guys, we got to end this podcast because I nervously, I can't do this right now because I'm too nervous about the game.
Oh my, yeah, this is it's definitely going to be the whole event's going to be a good time. So anyone who wants to come out, definitely come out on the 7th.
But we just invited Pierre to come out. I mean, that's just awesome. You just imagine we're gonna invite Grant, we're gonna invite all these players, and suddenly they all show up to our podcast, right before the game. that is gonna be
right?
wild. Yeah,
I'd also
Tavern
like to
on
say
the Rocks.
I'd also like to say that he just commented on our Facebook. So, dude, that seriously was like I couldn't be happy. That was like one of the coolest. That was one of the coolest experiences right there.
Yeah, that was
I gotta
really
pin
cool.
that comment. Gotta pin that
absolutely.
comment. Great guy. I just messaged him yesterday. And he was just very responsive, engaging, and I think this is the reason why this is why hockey is the greatest sport. It has the greatest people as well, just like Pierre. And we got our questions in. Like with Grant Marshall, I got my question in about if I met him in Disney World back in 2005 or something like that.
Yeah, right?
You guys got your question in.
There's always one random question.
I forgot to ask, hopefully we can have him on again because I wanted to ask him in 2015, he fought Cam again in the AHL. And I wanted to know, like, what, if they knew they were going to play each other that night, if they were both like, all right, this has to happen. Like, if it was like a kind of a premeditated thing. But that was, it's so, you see, the thing is like, the thing I love about hockey players is they let the curtain down and they let you into like the world that we don't get to see. We don't understand what happens in warm-ups or the locker room and like the conversations and camaraderie that they have. And it's so cool to have somebody like Pierre come on and be so, just open about everything and just be able to talk about it and give us like a glimpse behind the scenes.
Yeah, especially a player, as an enforcer and hearing those small things like, Brodeur telling him that he's going to have to go tonight. And it's like, those are just some, cool things that you don't hear in, you just don't hear them normally. It's the small intricacies of the game. And I love it. It's great.
Yeah, I agree. I can't wipe the smile off my face right now. I feel like such a fool, but that was so cool.
So
we got some big games coming up, boys, this week. The last two games, Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay, come Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday. I mean, these three games coming up. The New Jersey Devils sitting at the 8th spot, the wild card. Again, it's one game at a time. Ride Keith Kincaid Ryan Keith Kincaid. There's no time. No time for slumping right now. You got to go for it. And Taylor Hall, that overtime goal against Pittsburgh, that guy's clutching. By the way, I'm sorry. I think we need to rename 9 Wall Street, where we're going to be on April 7th, to 9 Hall Street, and just give directions there. Just put a big H. Put a big H on the W. But
yeah, exactly. You know, I wanted to say this earlier when we're talking at the beginning of the show. In that Pittsburgh game, if you watch Taylor Hall, he was on a mission that game. Like, just his style of play, like he was all over the ice. Every time he was out on the ice, you saw him out there. Like, he was making a difference. He was going out there, taking shots. He was just, you could like these guys like Palmieri, Hall, like these guys that, well, Palmieri's been in the playoffs, but like Hall especially, like you could see how much he wants this team to make it into the playoffs. And I don't think he'll be happy with just making it in either. They're pushing for the big time. Yeah, and it's the lack of celebration after that Pittsburgh goal. You know, there was talk like he wasn't sure if it was going to go in or not, but it was almost as in like a, there's still work to be done. Let's not go nuts over, an overtime win against the Penguins today, because we're still not in completely yet. Exactly. We're not 100% like secure where we are. No, we're not. And, you got to imagine it's got to burn him to know that, the season he comes here, Edmonton finally makes the playoffs and we missed it. He wants that bad, just like the rest of his team does. But, you can tell like there's still work to be done. And I think he realizes that, and the rest of the team does as well. But if they just keep pushing and, we're going to make that playoff spot. I also wonder if now that the streak is over, which we were also pumped about, is he playing with a little bit more of a relaxed feel and not, having that pressure to keep that streak going?
Great point.
That's a great point. And you see other guys around him like picking up their game, and like we said earlier, like the way Nico is playing right now, he's just he's getting to that next level of, he's not just a rookie anymore. Like he's getting to that next level where he's like starting to ascend to where he's going to become, an elite player. Yeah. We really made the right choice with him. I'll say this. 100%. I'll say this over and over and over again, because that was the debate, between him and Nolan Patrick, and it's the Devils consistently have throughout their history, and this is going over multiple regimes, and at the general manager spot, they always pick the right player for the team. Yeah, you know what? You can make an argument that maybe the one player that wasn't the right fit for the team, but we picked up, was possibly Kobe. But aside from that, the Devils, as a franchise, have always picked the player that's going to fit the franchise instead of picking a player and somehow make the franchise fit around them. Yeah, I agree. And, look at guys like Blake Coleman. I sing this dude's praises every podcast because, like, yeah, no, you do. He'd come in and he grinds it out. He's been playing some pretty damn good hockey. He's been playing, a two-way game. And that goal he had, let's talk about that goal he had in Pittsburgh where he scored. First of all, he's shielding off a defender, scores a backhand with one hand. Dude, Sidney Crosby did that last year. Awesome. Sidney Crosby did the same thing last year. And when he did this, in this game against the Penguins, I was sitting down watching the game. I jumped so high I damn near hit the ceiling. It was such a dirty looking goal. It was so nice. I know. But his game, and he almost did against Tampa Bay. He came close to doing it again against Tampa Bay, like almost the same exact play. But I mean, like, his game has been unbelievable. Getting Gibbons back into the lineup, unbelievable. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Roger, I'm sorry, this just came into Facebook. Roger, Kobe's not going to be a Devil next year. I can almost guarantee it. No, he's not. I gotta.
Sounds like somebody's trolling. Someone's trolling.
Yeah.
Roger Vincent is trolling us.
he's gonna be a Ranger next year more than likely, and they'll be in dead last, so it's okay.
Yeah, well, I would could at that. But again, speaking of guys like Coleman, that right there just shows the Devils. I can't speak at this point. The Devils' depth going into the playoffs. Like, we've got these role players that they can put into the lineup. We've got guys that they're sitting for a night, they're scratching, guys coming back in. The Devils have depth, and that is going to carry us through the playoffs.
And when you can roll 4 lines and you have different types of players for different situations, where you have a Brian Boyle, let's not forget how huge of an acquisition. I remember when we got Brian Boyle over the summer, there were so many people that were like, Boyle, like, oh, he's a little washed up, blah, blah, blah. I don't think he's as good as he used to be. As soon as the Devils signed him, I was like, that is such a smart move by Ray Shero, who is just, he has been, almost every single move that he's made since taking over for Lou has worked out. Marcus Johansson, like, some people will be like, well, Marcus Johansson hasn't worked out. And I'm like, yeah, because the dude's been injured, because he took a cheap shot from Brad Marchand. So give the guy an opportunity to come back and get healthy and play again, which hopefully he comes back in time for the playoffs and can make an impact. That would be pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's if he can come back for the playoffs, he's completely rested. So you don't have to worry about fatigue with him, as long as he can pass those concussion tests and come back in time. He is about as fresh of a pair of legs as you can have coming into the playoffs. So that is really something that you want, and he can absolutely help this team on a playoff run.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And it's like, we got to just get there. That's it. I don't want to count the, I don't want to touch the money too soon, or count the.
No, I agree.
Catch. They have to get into the playoffs first, and I'm telling you, if they do, I have a feeling. And even on the NHL Network, they were saying this: if the Devils get in, they can cause some real headaches for a lot of different teams. They're fast. Grabner's starting to come around, and he's been a huge addition. And you just see this team like gelling together, and you just kind of hope that if they can get into the playoffs, they might be one of those teams that can go, like, look at Ottawa last year, make it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, just that kind of like magical run.
Yeah, just look what the Devils have done against the Penguins and the Lightning all season. You don't. We've talked about this over and over again. They're a team that plays up to their competition. You don't want to play the Devils at all. If you're anyone, even if we come in the 8th seed, that's 7 teams above us that are not going to want to play us, and we're not supposed to be here. This is a rebuilding year. We're supposed to be, doing this maybe next season. We're well ahead of schedule at this point, and if we make the playoffs this year, forget it. It's anybody's game. As soon as you get into that tournament, it's anybody's game.
And that's what's great about the NHL too, is that the parity in the league is so well balanced that you could be an 8th seed and go and play for the Stanley Cup, and it's happened too. So it doesn't matter if, like, it's not like, and we've talked about this before, it's not like other leagues where if you're a lower seed and you get in, you're just going to be a one and done, or you're just there for window dressing.
Yeah, you're cannon fodder at that point.
Exactly. If you get in, if they get in, they have a solid shot on, making a run. And who the hell knows? If Kincaid is heating up, which he's been playing, he's taken 30 plus shots a game, and some of the saves that he's making are absolutely incredible. And no, and it's not, like I said, it's not like he's taking like easy, he's getting point blank shots just right into the chest. It's like he's getting hard saves. He's getting a lot of quality saves. So if he can continue to play this way, if he can continue to be hot, you ride that wave all the way to the Cup.
Yeah, and
then Sam wears a Mickey Mouse costume.
Yeah, that's right.
I forgot about that.
We have to keep bringing it up.
I don't.
Yeah, we get Sam will dress up in a Mickey Mouse costume if the Devils win the Cup. And ride a bike, in case anyone missed that one.
A ride a bike. I thought it was ride a horse.
Or a horse.
Oh yeah, well, horse. Yeah. Hey, you can do either one, Sam. I don't care if you ride a horse or a bike. As long as we win the cup, you're dressing up as Mickey Mouse, and you can ride whatever you want to ride.
And to answer to we had Dave on our or David on our Facebook group. He said after those 2 losses in Cali, he was feeling nervous going into Pittsburgh. I think you saw those 2 games in California and you were like, oh God, like what the hell happened?
Terrible.
We just beat the Kings 3-0. Like what the hell just happened? Like this is that Jekyll and Hyde type of mentality that this team has had, the last couple months, where 1 minute they look unbeatable and then 1 minute they look absolutely atrocious. So yeah, like going into Pittsburgh, everybody was crapping a brick, to say the least. But at the same time, like you watch that full game, if you watch the game from the beginning to the end, you saw a team that was like, you know what? In the very first part of that game, they're getting outplayed by Pittsburgh. At one point, the shots were 10-2. And I think it was Will Butcher after the game was asked, like, what happened? Like, what changed? And Coach Hines basically said, you guys have to play with confidence. Like, you have to play the way you can play. I'm sure he added a lot of expletives because if you watch the games, usually he's saying a lot of things that they can't. They need to blur his mouth because I can lip read John really well. But that was a team on a mission, and you got to believe like they have this whole Devils versus everybody mentality. Just got to ride it through until the playoffs.
Yeah, and the majority of this team is a young team, so they've got to learn this stuff, and this is a great learning experience going into the playoffs too. Yeah,
I know exactly.
One can only hope that once all they got to do is get into the tournament, and that's I'm going to keep saying that until the live podcast on the 7th. All we have to do is get into the tournament, which is all the Stanley Cup playoffs are.
Oh my God!
Best team wins tournament.
I just hope that game that night is a relaxed evening that we don't have to worry about beating the Capitals to get in or something crazy like that. So.
Or even worse, waiting to the next day to find out if we're in or not.
Oh, cry! Yeah. My heart can't take it. I'm getting too old for this.
Well, you know what though? Whether it's a good night, bad night, stressful night, what have you, the bottom line is we're going to be at a bar.
Exactly, and we will be Ubering home.
Yes, we will be.
I forget. Is that what day of the week is that?
Beer Baron, it's a Saturday.
Oh,
Saturday.
I'm going to answer for Sam. It's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday. But, let me tell you
it's going to be a happy Devil Saturday.
It will be a happy Devil Saturday as long as Sam says it right. We'll be good.
Yeah.
Just think of this scenario, guys. Think of this scenario. Just like in '88, the Devils need 2 points, or they need a regulation win. It's tied 2-2. 39 seconds left.
See, already my heart's I can't.
See, you're worried about your heart, and all that stuff. Sam's describing this, and I just keep thinking, well, I'm going to need a beer.
Yeah.
That's my first thought. I'm going to need a beer.
I'm sure you'll start to see all my little quirks, all my little like weird things that I do. I was holding a beer in my left hand when they scored a goal, and now I can't hold anything else in my left hand. You know what I mean? Like I start getting really superstitious, and
I'm sure you'll be. I'm sure you'll be real upset to have to keep a beer in your left hand.
Oh, well, I mean.
So we got a big week this week. Just to recap before we close it out: Carolina Tuesday, Pittsburgh Thursday, the Islanders on Saturday. We need all 6 of those points. It's just the bottom line.
At this point,
we need all 6 of those points. At this point, I don't care how we get them. I want all 6 of those points. I'm going to bring up the standings again just to check this, but
3-point difference.
We need all of these points. Bottom line, in the next week. So by the time we have our by the time we have our podcast next, just get us 6 points. That's all we want.
Dude, if we get 6 points from this point until our next podcast, and you wonder what can you? I don't know if you can, if you have the ability to, but can you pull up Florida's schedule, see how many games they're going to be playing next week? Hopefully, they play 5 next week.
I got it right here. As soon as my browser wants to refresh. All right, so this coming week, they have the Islanders on Monday, and then back-to-back Wednesday, Thursday, Toronto, Ottawa, and then Boston on Saturday. All away. They're all on the road for all of this.
So they're making up one of those games in that game in hand situation. So, all right. So realistically, let's hope the Devils get 2 of those 3 games, right? So let's get 2 of those 3 games. So that gives us, 4 points out of that whole situation. Let's hope that the Fancy Cats lose, even if they go 2-2. Well, yeah, let's hope they lose all of them. But if they go 2-2, that gives them 4 points as well. That still keeps us 3 points up. So at the end of next week, no matter what, whenever next Sunday when we have our podcast, let's just hope that the Devils still have either that 3-point cushion or 3 points or more.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
it's just got to keep winning. All they have to do is keep winning.
If you would have told me that this was the situation that we're going to be in the beginning of the year, I would have said, "Sign me up. Sign me up for this. This is what it's all about."
I'll take it. Yeah, as stressful as this is also a very fun time of year because there's so much at stake. There's so much. Every single game is worth watching because every single game is meaningful now. It's not like the last 5 seasons where, we're getting to the end of March. We're just like, oh, let's just end this already. There's something to watch and something to play for.
Yeah. Meaningful hockey.
So
meaningful hockey.
I'll absolutely take meaningful hockey because you know what? That just blends right into the playoffs, which is the NHL play. Nothing beats the NHL playoffs.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It is. We said this before. You could watch I'll watch a Rangers series in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Rooting against them, of course. But I mean,
of course.
There's nothing like playoff hockey, and let's just hope, knock on wood, our team makes it all the way through, and they can make it into the playoffs because I have a feeling they can do some major damage.
And at that point, let's hope that Sam has to dress up as Mickey Mouse.
Exactly. I know a place where you can get a really nice looking costume.
Sam, I think you have to get a. Sam, you got to get a screen. Sam, get a screen cap of you in the Mickey Mouse costume for next week.
Great podcast, boys.
Yeah, I hear the music. I know what that means.
Yeah. Yeah, huge thank you to PL3 for coming on. Pierre, that was, if you're still watching or listening, or thank you so much. That was the highlight of the year so far. Man,
yeah,
Arlette,
Pierre, thank
PL3,
you. Pierre, thank you so much. That was awesome. It's been a great set of weeks.
Thank you to the listeners, viewers in the Facebook live chat room. I mean, this is the most commented Devils podcast, and there's 12 of them out there. The most commented Devils podcast in the history of New Jersey Devils podcasts in this world. I mean, that's just amazing. David Perlmutter, Roger, Robert Vanilla, another hardcore listener, viewer. It's starting to grow, and it's starting to grow to April 7th when we all meet up. Devils Army blog is supposed to be there as well.
Yeah,
it's going to be a wild time.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's going to get a little crazy. And like we said, let's just be in a good position where we can all relax and enjoy each other's company.
But either way, we'll be at a bar.
Yeah. Hey, Amanda Nanetti says hi.
Oh, cool.
Amanda Nanetti said, hey, Amanda. April 7th,
you're late. We're just closing out.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? And Cairo, you're right. We do have the Penguins number.
Yes, we do. Let's keep that up. So.
All right.
I guess we're done. Are we done?
I mean,
Are we done?
we had there was too much excitement for the entire show. It's just kind of like, all right, I guess we're gonna music's playing.
Yeah,
Let's wrap it up.
then it just drops.
Yeah. Well, Roger says he's going to have to be there.
Well, Roger, there's promises and then there's promises.
Yeah,
Roger,
I think all the listeners have to be there.
you're going to 9 Hall Street in Rockaway, New Jersey. 9 Hall Street.
You're gonna get
No,
people.
yeah. We have to give them the real address, and then we have to take a picture of the changed address.
Ah.
We'll make up a
yes.
sign. We'll make up a sign.
We will make up a sign, but it's Wall Street.
Amanda
All right,
says she's
guys.
adulting all day.
Yeah, adulting sucks.
Hey, man. We all have to do it.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, I have a second kid coming in 4 days, so.
Yeah, that's like Uber adulting, man. That's adulting to the max.
I
Which,
am
by the way,
maxed out on
congratulations,
adulting.
man.
Thank you.
It's a big thing coming up.
Yeah, it's huge. It's by next podcast, I hope to have 6 points and another bouncing baby. Maybe I'll have both my kids come on the podcast.
There we go. and let's not forget to celebrate. There's another Devils fan coming into this world.
There you go. Exactly. 100%.
Yeah. Yep.
Just make the Army stronger.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Well, we would like to thank the listeners, everybody. Guys, great podcast. PL3, thank you very much for coming on to the program. Till next time, let's go Devils.